Hi, I'm Megan, and today I'm going to guide you through an Ayurvedic practice called Dasha Chalana, which means the churning of the joints. And the principle or premise behind this churning or circling of the joints is that as we age, a lot of times the mobility in our joints seems to go down. So if we can keep the synovial fluid really healthy within our joints by making these circular movements very gently each day, it'll help us down the line to have more ease in our body and to help with balance. So let's get started. This is something I recommend doing every morning. Really easy. You can wake up, do it a couple minutes in the morning. You could also do it at the end of your day to just keep your body really, really healthy. Okay, so here we go. You don't need anything except your body. We're going to start with the ankles. So you can take your hands and just rest them down by your sides. And take your right leg back behind you, the top of the foot on the ground. If you have any kind of balance issues, you can come to a wall and hold onto the wall while you do this. Keep your shoulders relaxed and start to make some really big circles with your ankle. Think about this movement actually coming from your thigh bone, like a spaghetti noodle, in your hip joint, just kind of moving around fluidly. You might notice there's some creaking and cracking that happens. That's that air element, that vata element in the body. So we're just bringing in a little bit more fluidity, more of the water element. Reverse your circles, go the other direction. And then slowly release your foot down to the floor. Let's try that other side. Left leg back behind you, top of the foot down, and we find those circles. You can notice if this side feels a little bit different than the other. Think about the movement coming from your thigh bone, initiating it, and then it's moving all the way down to the ankle. Switch directions. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Keep breathing. And then slowly release your foot. Now bring your feet as close together as you can. Bend into your knees, bring your hands onto your knees, and start to circle out your knee joint. Try to keep your toes down. They have a tendency to want to pop up. The more you can keep your feet down, the more you can keep that circular movement just in your knees. And then switch directions. How fluid can you make it? When we have some range of mobility issues, you can start to notice possibly that the circle isn't quite a circle. And if that's the case, go a little bit smaller. Go small enough that you can make a circle with these joint series movements. All right, and then release. Now come up to stand. Bring your feet a little bit wider than your hips. And we're going to start to move the hips in a circle. Almost imagine that the movement is coming from your tailbone, like you have a little weight on your tailbone. So sometimes when I see people do this, I see some back bending going on, and that can just be kind of intense for the low back. So think about the movement is coming from your femur bones, your thigh bones, just kind of stirring, almost like you're stirring a pot of soup. But your spine stays long, low back stays long. And we're just giving that hip joint a really nice opening. Then switch directions. Imagine that little weight on your tailbone. Keeping the spine long. Keep breathing. And then slowly release. Now we're going to focus on rotation. Feet can stay about this width. Start to rotate side to side. An added bonus with this one is there's little pressure points right on the insides of your shoulders as well as on your kidney points. So when you twist, give yourself a little pat on the inner shoulder and the back kidney. Not too hard, just a little pat. Rotating side to side, gently, fluidly, with ease. Couple more. And then come back through center. Now take your fingertips onto your shoulders. Move the elbows forward, up and back. This one can be quite noisy. There can be quite a bit of creaking and cracking going on in the shoulders. And the goal is not to make the biggest circle ever. The goal is to have some fluidity in your movement. So if you notice there's some clicking or some tightness, maybe you make your circles a little bit smaller until that feels really fluid. And then you could always make it a little bit bigger. Where can you be kinder to yourself and more gentle? And when you're ready, then switch directions. Lubricating the joints. So think about that water element. It's nourishing and soothing, helping with any dryness or clicking or pain in the joints. And then slowly release. Now let's give our wrists some love. Interlace your fingers, draw your elbows close together. We're gonna make figure eights with our hands. Palms stay together. This is always a one that I get lots of clicking and cracking. If you have a desk job or typing a lot, the wrists, they can just get so cranky, so tight. So this one in particular is really good. And then a little bit of a brain teaser, can you switch the direction of your figure eight? Keep going. Couple more. Slowly release. All right, so now your nose, imagine you're tracing the moon with your nose. Neck circles. Doesn't have to be a big movement. This can be another one where there's lots of clicking and creaking. If that's the case, go a little bit smaller with your circle until it feels a little bit smoother. Switch directions. In Ayurveda, they say how we do something is just as important as what we're doing. Even though these movements are objectively good for the joints, how are you approaching them? Can you approach them with gentleness, with kindness? Last one. Slowly come back through center. Last thing for the spine. This is kind of like a cat and cow movement. So we're coming into a back bend and then folding, and you'll see how it goes in a moment, but just try to breathe through it the whole time. You can speed it up or slow it down. So what this looks like is you go into a back bend, looking up towards the sky, and then as you exhale, think about curling your tailbone under, rounding your spine, head is super heavy. Then we go into that back bend. We lift up, look up, arms can go behind you, and exhale, dive it forward, rounded spine. Take a few more. You can make it faster if you'd like. Breathing into it, awakening the body. Last one. Now slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. Might be just a little bit dizzy, so keep your head heavy. Head is the last to lift. You can draw your shoulders up to your ears and then sigh them back down again. Thank you so much for joining me today to do the Dasha Chalana, the Ayurvedic churning of the joints for better joint health. Have a wonderful day.